But if they were gemalt, the nimshcha arla, so then the arla was stretched. So Moshe Hochman is only a drabanan. V'vadi eina ma'akin, because the argument Moshe Kasav l'mala, the he needed the grain of makon karas. In other words, even though there's a Moshe, but that's not going to be ma'akin the current Pesach, except he said for certain exceptions they were ma'amid. But generally we say they're not ma'amid the grain of makon karas. V'im noldu m'hulim, and if children were born gemalt or avadim were gemalt, which we say there's a din about tapas dabris, other remain in the tzarech lahativ dabris mach masava garla kedusha, which wasn't so pashut, that was the Rambam Shita, but that's what he's saying. What the Gemara says, ulavadei ma'akav asvasiya v'achila machmas suffik. So since it's a suffik garla kedusha, so there's suffik arelim, so they're not going to be able to eat. So later on he's going to speak about is that's topic deraisa l'chumra, is that a derabanan, or is that a deraisa? So we're going to have to say. But he says l'maisa it's a suffix orla, so an oral can't eat, and there's suffix arelim, so that can't eat, and you have to do a tapas tam bris, so you're not an honest, so that could be ma'akiv. L'inyan geris kagon shenechnas la'avdis, and sarach mila k'mal ger, because to become an eved you need mila, like a ger needs a mila. Ta'api nimo b'giyuso, and even if you were gemalt as a goy, which doesn't, so when you become a ger, you have to have a tavas dam bris. And mitzvahs mila, we discusses that. L'kam mitzvah reish pei beis. Ayim shabbos kuf lamad hay. Ubal amor milchama shama yavamas ve'ein laharich. He's not going to go into the whole union of mila by geras.
How's the shach have an edit who's an oral? I guess it's born oral. It's only talking about born edit, right? That's the only possibility to have it.
What do you mean? If you buy an edit, it's an oral that you have to mull.
Yeah, but he's not an edit until you mull him.
Right. Well, there's a whole word that you can wait 12 months and you give him a chance. During those 12 months period, there's a whole shal, and then you can let him go. If he refuses to mull after 12 months, he goes free. So
he's not makav on the right? I mean, that's an interesting question. That in that 12-month cycle was that
yes, so maybe we'll look at Tavadim. He's going to speak about it. We'll see what he speaks. The Imyesh lo zocher tumtum, ayin shas the Rambam deinu ma'akiv, keeping the enu yochel lamulo, and he's for some reason not mechuyev to tear him open. We said I hate that practically because they know it's dangerous, but it's not so pleasant. Imyesh lo androgynous. The Rambam, the pasuk, the suffix zocher. If you hold this, he says suffix zocher, suffix nekeva. So here you could mal. So vadei milasu makapas misafik. So there's where he says Eshalom or la Rambam despite the lechumah rak midrabanan im kain ena ma'akav delo hamidu direim v'dvarim atikim. So here he mentions a note on the bottom, but I thought of myself. It's not so pasha because there are shitas that hold that the Rambam holds suffix the reis lechumah is only the rabbanan by suffix iser.
Right.
Because that's a chavas das, because he says because the Rambam holds the Torah speaks a lashon vadai.
Right.
So, but when it comes to a mitzvah and it's telling you to bring a korban pesach, you have to do that vadai. So there you hold in a suffix. You would say suffix deraisa l'chumra min ha Torah. So here we're talking about bringing a korban pesach, and you have someone that's a suffix, androgynous is a suffix if he's mak, if you were not a suffix in your kiyum mitzvah, so maybe then you would say suffix deraisa l'chumra min Torah by a suffix mitzvah. The mitzvah scheme is never mechalik in an esrog also, but on the bottom.
So suffix deraisa l'chumra would be not to bring it. Right?
You wouldn't be allowed to bring, but you'd be mechuyev to. You'd be mechuyev to malbis androgynous.
Right.
And al suffix deraisa l'chumra. Yeah, androgynous. The tumtum you can't maybe because, but the androgynous, why shouldn't you be able to mal? Sure, there is not an answer or anything there. Right. That's why he said vadei milas makavas misavik. Except he's saying you're going to have to mal. Except he's saying could be it's only the rabbanon, but because suffix deraisa. Other people that say that could be even if suffix rabbanon is l'kula, but could be by mila. You're more machmir because even though it's not an essay, it's an essay sheish b'karas. Right. And even though the father is not mechuyev karas, but it's considered an essay sheish b'karas, and some people hold that by karas the Rambam holds suffix deraisa l'chumra because you find in the Torah there's if you eat a suffix karas you have to bring an asham toli. Right. So it's not mitzvah that you're allowed to eat it. Minotaur, and you still have to bring an asham totally. So there's shittas that hold that certainly by Slavik Torahs you have to go to Chumra Minha Torah. And that's a losa, Mila's an essay, but some people Mila is considered like an essay, even though when the father doesn't have a shadow of karas, but it's an essay, Sheish Karas, like the Gemara says, you can't defect that the father's Mila's Docha Shabbos. The Gemara says you can't learn, it's want to learn out from there that an essay is Docha Losa Sheish Karas, and Gemara says that's different, it's an essay Sheish Karas. So you see, even the guy with the father is called, even though he's not Chayv Karas, he doesn't do it, it's still called an essay Sheish Karas, so maybe then you go to Chumra. Okay, now he says, B'zel Lashon Aram Kan Perikei Halacha Hey, Kashem Shemila Satso Makvaso. If he himself was an oral, he can't. Kach Milas Banav Haktanim, Umilas Kol Avada Ben Gedolim Ben Katanim Makavas Oso. Hine Eitzel Banav Diktik Ram Lipto Banav Haktanim. So he brought it near Dafka, Banav Haktani, Ma'ak Minosami Pesach. Ava Banav Gedolim, Avalo Banav Gedolim. Ve'ayin Le'el Mitzvah Beis, Herakti, because over there, when he speaks about this part, I remember because we've done it, that he speaks about the father as a mitzvah the mal his son. He says he has a shiloh, does that go off when he becomes a gadol or not? And he brings the raya from this Rambam because he holds the fact, the reason the father is, it's makah the father for Purim Pesach because of this mitzvah Mila. Because he has a chiyuv of Mila. And since the Rambam says that it's only chiyuv Mila that's makah was only by a cotton, so he says it must be the Rambam holds that when it comes to gadol, the chiyuv Mila goes off, and that's not why it's not makah. But it's not necessarily true, but that's Minchas Chinuch's sheet that it's Father that the din of Purim Pesach was telling him the chiyuv Mila, the etzem chiyuv of Mila. So he says, look in Leil Mitzvah Beis where she brought this raya that the din of the father's mitzvah is only his man is only until he's a gadol. The ein has man maskim laharach was there. Uvameshach hasav le'el. Mikamakom ekta b'kitter. The nearer dafka banav aktanim. Kimin, this repeats what he said. The kimin sha'at machuyev lamu banav aktanim. Alkein makvin osa. The shayach himo. B'lamu lamo. So alkein makv. Alo banav akdalim ein mitzvah al av k'mosh kibar banal el. Kimin is gadol nifka mitzvah zav, and it goes on the child himself. They all up, but the father's mitzvah goes off. Him kain kibud ein mitzvah olav hablei ki ish acher. Even though he's the father. V'lo shayach lomer the ya'akiv also. Al-Kain Dafka Bonavak Tanim Ayim Asher Rachmaliel. Because that's his shita, that the father, it's makah, the father from Purim Pesach, is because of the Algemein Chiyuv Mila on his son. So since it's only by cotton, you see the Chiyuv Mila of the father is only by a son who's a cotton and not by a son who's a gadol. But this is a whole big shaila. There's a Marsha not like that. There's a Gemara that says when you're in honest, it's not mak of you. And the Gemara says, one of the cases the Gemara says is that Avi ve'ima were in the base in prison. Right. So they were anusim, they couldn't malam, but at the time of the Asiya, because the Gemara is looking at cases where they were that the Asiya they were putter, and by the case of by the night the Torah they were already chayv as mak of this. So it's more as a case at the time of the Asiya they were in jail. Right, and then they got out of jail before the Asiya, and then they could mal, and if they don't mal, then it's mocked of the Asiya, even though they weren't milka at the time of the. Yeah, so the Gemara says that so Rashi says Avi v'ima were in a basic claim. So what's Imu got to do with it? She doesn't have a chiyuv Mila. So it's the problem why Rashi mentions that over there. The Marsha says even though Anisha doesn't have a chiyuv Mila, but there's a special din for if you're a mechuyev in Korban Pesach, you have to mal. How's the din of Korban Pesach? Like he makes it a separate. This din that Mila is ma'aka by Korban Pesach is a chiyuv, is machayiv you to mal for Korban, and even the Nisha who doesn't have the din of Mila of Aval Bano over there. But this mitzvah that since she has Korban Pesach, she's mechuyev to mal al Korban Pesach. It's a special, so therefore you can't bring. So one has nothing to do with the other, according to the Maharsha. There's two bazundera chiyuvim. So
he's not really being chaylik with the Minchas Chinuch's argument that there's no chiyuv on the father from Mila. he's specifically saying that Korban Pesach is
different.
It's different.
So it will come out that it's not the father, like the Minchas Chinuch learns, the father's algemein chiva, the father to model his kid, which is makif by Korban Pesach. But according to them, it has nothing to do with the regular chiva. It has to do with the Torah was macharish by Korban Pesach. You have to model your kids to be able to be able to say the chiva of Korban Pesach. It's like a special thing. And then there's other shittas not like the Minchas Chinuch, not like the not like Marsha. Some say it has nothing to do with a chiyuv. There's a Torah says that for you to have a Korban Pesach, you can't have anyone in your household that's an aro.
Yeah.
Right? So in Mela, it's only banav katanim. In other words, even at the regular mitzvah, Mela would be even when your son is a gadol, but over here, it's because he's considered in your household, and only a katan is considered in your household, but a ben a gadol is not considered part of your household anymore. So that's why only a katan is makav, and not a gadol. It's a special thing, and in Nevid, he's considered part of your household, whether he's a gadol or a katan. His son is, once he's a gadol, is not considered part of your household.
What are these? If he's by al gabi shulchan of the like, even if he's a gadol by gabi shulchan, that's
still not makav. Still, he's not considered. Yeah, here because sometimes we say that's considered.
Right, like he's part of the household.
Let me just see, because on the bottom over here, I think he speaks of these sheet.
This thing.
He brings the marsha that I told you.
Yeah.
One second, let me just see the other thing. Oh. See, this is the. Let me see. He brings this far that I just told you that only a khan, because he's Bershusa and a gadol is not Bershusa. And it's the Odiyah Shlomar. This is the svar of this type. Odiyah Shlomar, Sha'atam Sha'orlas Banav Ma'akvaso, Mishum Sha'af Haim Nechlolim Imo B'Korbano. Because that goes into Solomon, so it's the rights of others. Because when a father brings a korban, he could give his child, even, he doesn't have to be Mamanim, or if he's Mamanim, or he could be Mamanim Shalol Dato. So he says the father, the cut and the child is considered a tuffle in the same korban pesach of the father. So therefore he's like he's that's only by a cotton and not by a gadol. The male the son of cotton is part of this korban of his korban pesach. That's why it's makkah. So that's I think a statement.
This thing with women. It's very interesting because she can't do the Mila. It's like a very interesting thing in the sense that she doesn't have the power to
that's not she's Anisha's
right.
I'm aware now. But if you hold she's possible, but she could get someone else to do it.
Yeah, but if according to Rashi, it'd be interesting what Rashi holds by what Rashi held by a woman being mal, because it's an interesting thing to say that you are dependent you're dependent on not having these people, on mauling these people, and you don't have the power to rectify it. Like it's one thing to say that it's ma'akev because you have the power to rectify. I'm just speaking from the Svar, but to say that you are responsible.
But I mean, she could get someone to do it.
But she still can't. You know what I'm saying? Like she still can't. Like she
can't do it herself.
Yeah, it may not be. Like
some people say, I think I saw on the Bible where some people say your svara the halachik between a son of gadol or a son of khan. A son of khan, you have the power to maul him. A gadol, he could fight back, he could refuse, and how are you going to do a bel karchel? So it could be that's why a gadol is a makav.
Right.
But what about an eved that's gadol? He has no co-op to refuse. He's your eved, so in other words, a son of gadol could say he doesn't want you to do it, but an eved can't say he doesn't want you to do it.
It'd be interesting because a son of gadol, he says you want to do it. It would be Bezdin who has the power to force him, but not the father. But the father, else being the Baal. I'm sorry, the other being the Baal would have the power to force him. I'll say that. But that's why I was just thinking, like, this is in terms of Benisha. Not that there's no proof of this, but it's it would be just interesting. I'm just trying to think if there's other cases that you're ma'akev on something, but you don't have the power to really, rectify it.
Some people say that Rashi says that the father and mother were in the prison. So what's the mother got to do with it, right?
Right.
Some say it was just a practical case because it's talking about they were anusim. So some say, practically speaking, if the baby is probably with the mother.
Right.
If the mother was out of jail,
so
she would have taken care of it. So
right.
Not necessarily al-Tzuchi, but she would have seen that he's normally. She would see that he's Gamal. So right, so she was in jail and the baby was in the jail, and they didn't have the power to.
But there's an issue with that if you don't have the father if you don't have the father actually. The whole issue with the moil is that even if the mother's around but the father's away, there's a whole thing.
There's no child there's sleepless.
Right. And the fact is
but if the father cannot do it, if he's in jail, then there's a Bezdin. She would have seen it. She would have gotten
Bezdin because Bezdin could step in.
Okay. Okay. Now let's see Be'avadim.
Did anyone say that it was the Mitzvah Shahaya?
No, well, what made Rashi say that was the Mitzvah Shayah? I mean, why couldn't Rashi do anything where he should?
Right, because the Gemara doesn't say that Mitzvah.
The Gemara says he was
in jail.
Rashi, I think, puts in the mother was in jail too, and that's the shallow way they put that in.
I'm reading some Mishnayos and Avodah Zarah actually for Shlomo's Shloshim coming up, and there's a mission of Avodah Zarah. There's a whole issue there because if it was a Maisha Shahaya or not. Like this whole sheet is there that it's a Maisha Shahaya, so that's what. But not that we learned specifically in that case. That's why.
But here Rashi makes this.
He makes it Maisha Shahaya. Yeah.
Okay. V'nei avadim ben gedolim ben katanim mitzvah sasel al rav lemulam. Hein yilidei bayis and noldu etzlo hein miknas kesef. Ayin raman perikal ben v'nei alachagimel. Okay, so he's saying since that's the sheet, since there's an augmented din tomorrow, okay, so if he doesn't allow them, they're maklim him from the making of the Grand Pesach. Then you balance them ches the yesh avadim shemechiyul amalim. There's avadim the hisna shelo lamu. But let's say when he bought them, they made a tanai that he's not going to malim. Then there's the gemara that's ayin sham de'ain sarach. Ayin Sham Rashi tells the Rasham Im Yachol Lamu LaEved Ba'al Korcho, and if there was no tonight, could he do it about Korcho? Ayin Rama Peragath Nemila Halacha Vav Perikadam Yisur Bi Halacha Taz Yordei Simon Reish Lam Asayin Vadini Mamuki. In other words, it's not so precious this whole chiyuv of Mammon again of it. Haklal Near Li Kol Heichad the Mitzvah Arav Lamulo Lamar Kadisle. Because he says there's different sheets are showing when you're mechuyev, but whenever you are mechuyev to malim, that's the augmented din of maling and eved. Makeva so me'asiyo me'achila. The kol heik deina mechuyev kiyon shehestna. Oh, Pascal Milsley, I don't know what that case is. Ayin sham v'rashi utosis. Kivin the ein ha-mitzvah olav eino ma'akev, because that's what he holds. The general mitzvah is what's ma'akev. The Adam Gamken Kimozor Nechshav Lama Ya'akev so. But that's no suppression because fourth in his house, someone could have according to the Marshal, just like he says an Isha who doesn't have the general mitzvah, but because of Karan Pesach she has a specific mitzvah, he could learn the same thing. He would hold Ben Adam and an Eved. Now it's a special chiyuv of having your whole household Gemal mitzvah the Karan Pesach. That would be mechayev him, just like he holds by an Isha.
That case of this case of Hisnimo but the Mila, so that doesn't make him an Edekani. That's the case of the 12 months.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what even without the Tanai holds he can't do it about Korcho. Korcho Sirlek Rabban Sham.
That's tied to Gerus, isn't it? Isn't it tied to Gerus also in the Mila? That the Gerus has to still be. You can't. I mean, is he talking here? I know in Gerus you can't be. The Gerus
can't do about Korch. I mean, that's the reason. Could be. I don't know.
Well, that wouldn't apply to Yolo Bias. That's what I'm saying. Because he says over the Yachol Lemol Hatbil. So that's talking when you're actually making him the Eved Ivri. Right?
Mm-hmm. So this next part I'm looking ahead and I don't follow because I don't know the Gemara well enough. He says, he says that's the Rabbanan. That's the way he learned the Rabbanan over there in Yavamas, that you can't do it Baal Korcho. The Eved Ish. I guess you have to look at the Gemara, see what his drush is according to the Rabbanan. To me, I'm just guessing, really guessing, but it could be that according to the ones that hold you could mal bar korcho, they learned that out of the pasuk Eved Ish. And if you hold you can't mal bar korcho, then what do you do with the pasuk Eved Ish? And he says Eved Ish is Kedeshmuel, the mafkir abdo ain't tzarich get shecher, that only when he's the Eved Ish, but if he's mafkir, he goes free completely. So he's just saying that the Rabbanan darshan the pasuk Eved Ish that way. The Amos, he says, the Rambam Sover Perkras Mi Avadim Halacha Gemot the Mafta Afro Sarah get Shecher. So then it doesn't work out because if you hold like the Rabbanan, you darshan ain't Sarah get Shecher. So he's just saying there's the problems with the Rambam, how each one works out. Ayin Yam Shashlama the Marshal Ahmed Bazeh Ulharich Benyan Elu in Yanim Elu Sarah Kuntras Miyuchid to go through the whole din of being the din of Mila by Avadim the Einkan Mekama. So that's really not a very hard thing of an oral not eating current Pesach, but there's a problem. In other words, there's a problem with what the Rambam sheet is. If he holds he can't be mal bal korcho, then what does he do with this pasuk Eved Ish, and doesn't do what the Gemara says he do with it. So that's a problem. Okay, but that's not really our no okay.
It's also the thing that the hatbil. I mean, the fact is that in that language with Yachol Lamol hatbil. That's getting back to Gerus.
Yeah, because to become an Eved Kana, you need to be land.
Yeah, but that has to be Baratzon. In other words, the Gerus needs Kabbalah's mitzvahs Baratzon. So the truth is that that's why this thing of Bal Korcha. I mean, that's. I mean, the question is, could you mal your Eved Bal Korcha? That's the Yolad bias. I mean, that would seem to be. Yes,
I think so too. I think this is only talking about when you're acquiring an Eved.
So how can you hold that you can be mal? In other words, how's it possible to hold you can be mal bal korcho if you need rutzon in the gerus process?
Because I think you could hold that the gerus of an Eved is you could do bal korcho. I mean, it's not doesn't follow the same real gerus.
So it would be it would be that if you hold you can mal bal korcho, you're holding that you can be Magayer Bal Korcho.
Not regular Gerus, but a Gerus of another kind of, yeah, I think.
It's interesting. Because that's a din that becomes a din in Gerus. I mean, the fact is that you're basically.
But it's not a full-fledged Gerus.
But it still has to be Kabbalah's mitzvahs. Are you going to say that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Never can remember it's only Mechiva mitzvahs like an Isha.
Right.
And it's not a full. Even though he's a male, he's still only Mechiva mitzvahs.
Right. But he says he says Kabbalah's mitzvahs, or maybe
if you hold, you could do it. But
maybe
you don't have
Kabbalah's mitzvahs.
Yeah.
You're Jewish and too bad.
Right.
That's interesting. So it'll be all tied together.
I know there's a shaila if the Eved himself is mechuyev and mila, even by Yalid biased.
Right.
This din he's only mechuyev mitzvahs like an Isha, and Isha doesn't have mila, but there's a whole shaila if an Eved himself has. It could be an Eved himself has a din of mila. I mean, an Isha doesn't have it. In the Shach, he does. He's a zachar. So there's a whole big sugya if an Isha if an Eved has mila. It's a big machlokas. Okay, but that's not okay to hear about the curve. Od Mavor Baram Kan Parakei Halacha Hey. This is the one that's very big chiddush. The Rambam says that Tfilas Amhosav, he has an Amma, a Shefcha Goya, and if he wasn't Tovel her, he says that Tfilas Amhosav L'Shem Abdus Makpashal is Mak of him from Korban Pesach. And the question is, where in the world does that come from? I mean, there's a pasuk that says you have to mal your avadim. This tefillah has nothing to do with Mila, obviously. So one way of learning is the Ram understood the din of Mila is ma'akas because you're mechuyev to make him an Eved Kanani, so you have to make her a Shifra Kanani, and you need tefillah for that. So it's not. Then it comes out it's not because of the Mila. Mila just happens to be the way to make an Eved Kanani, but we'll see what he says. Okay.
So you can never have that 12-month situation.
No, if you make it tonight, then he's not mechuyev. You don't have to have him for an Eved. But if you want him to be an Eved, a permanent Eved, you have to make him into an Eved
before Pesach.
The tefillah of Moses Shemaz Ma'akva, so the davar zemi pia Kabbalah, shat tefillah, this is the Rambam's word, shat tefillah, the shifchus is kamila lavadim. Vayin ravid el hagoy sham, which I guess is a very shocking pshat. Who met Osefta, psachim, there's a source met Osefta. Mavur vidvar, the gabi avadim cause of the mila ma'akevis. The gabi shifchus cause of the tefillah ma'akevis. Yadu b'vamas v'ramam v'hilpas havanim the Eved hu b'chal ger the eno nechnas l'chal avdas rak v'mila u'tfila she'yimuchiyah v'mitzvahs k'Eved ein yordeis v'k'chavdala Mikol makom he's being medayek that only the mila is makah by the Eved. You don't need mila and tefila. Mikol makom I don't know if that's a muchad. Mikol makom ein tefila makavas gabi avadim afal pishlo nechnas l'dayin l'chlal Yisrael. Gab the mitzvah alav latvilu abdus mikol makom einam akav. The lo motzinu b'torah the mitzvah alav latvilu. Ayin sham v'tosim. He's learning it's the general mitzvah which is makav. So he's saying there is no general mitzvah of tefillah. Ayin v'tosim yibamus daf lemches. David arol asher l'kaim el mitan l'kadosh baruch amal Abraham himo yimo. Ach tefillah lo motzinu. He says we don't find the chiyuv of tefillah. Im Kain, and I know there's a Rabbi Chaim not like this for sure. The Rambam says that this milas ma'aka because you have to be Megairim and he has to be a Kanani and you have to do tefillah too, and it's understood. But he's being Medaik, you don't have to do tefillah. All you have to do with Mila. But you want to finish paragraph. In the Fizeh lama ta'aka v'tefillah shal shifka. So if you're going to say tefillah is a ma'aka by the zachar, so why should it be ma'aka by the shifka? So Torah Sarach Lomer. The Gzeres HaKasaf, K'mu Rambam, the Davar Zeh Me'Kabbalah, Shetfil L'Shifchas Havi K'Mila L'Avadim. V'hainu K'mel Mila L'Avadim, Shemutal Adam Lamul Keinu Tfil L'Shifchas, Am Pagam She'ein Mutal Ala Adam, U'Tfil L'Avadim Einam Akavas. The Einam Avur Sheta'akiv, Rak Tfil L'Shifchas, the Gzeres HaKasaf. Which is a very, very hard thing to understand that it's not makav by him and it's makav by her. And the pasuk talks about Mila, so if you're going to learn the makav by her, so then because the principle is that you have to be you have to make them into mechuyev and mitzvah. So just like you have to mal, that means you would have to mal and be told the Eved also, which I think is what Rabbi Chaim holds, not like but he's being medayek. You only have to mal, you don't have to be told. So how could you keep him? He's not in Shiur. What kind of milah? I mean, I know there's another Rabbi Chaim that says that the reason tefillah shifchus is the Gemara says that even goyim that are gemalt are considered arelim.
Right.
So if you have a shifcha, right, and you're not toveler, right, so she's a goy. Right. So she's considered like an oral.
Wow.
So Rabbi Chaim learns the reason tefillah shifcha is ma'akev because it's like you have in your household an oral. And it's not, even though you're not mechuyev to be toveler, because then he learns it's not the chiyuv, it's just the word you can't have in your household.
The Marshal's concept.
Well, either the Marshal's concept or even right to the Marshal's concept. There is no chiyuv whatsoever, but the fact is, if you have an oral, it's ma'akev.
Right.
Not that you're mechuyev to do anything, but the Maisa, if you can't bring it for a
It's very interesting because that idea is a household. She's working in your house. You have violence over her, so it's part of your household. So the same thing as your cow being part of your household in the sense level. So the truth is that makes a lot of sense because it's been bothering me in the sense that if it's a din in the Eved, and the Eved has to have a status of being an Eved, in that 12-month state, it's really that status. So so why do you have a? It seems according to his understanding, it's that it's machshiv that person in that 12-month state to some type of status, because you have a chiyuv, to mull them, or you have a chiyuv. You're almost implying you have a chiyuv, some kind of obligation to toivel a woman in that 12-month state, which is a.
I don't know, and I don't know how he. I mean, the way he's understanding that this is the mamash of Rabbi Tesser holds. When it says Mila Eved, it means Mila and Tefillah, but he's learning by an Eved all Mila, so he's still mamash a goy.
Right, he doesn't have that status.
So what happens to the rule that called? So even though Apidini he has a din of an oral, but still you mild him, and that's good enough for Koren Pesach, even though he's an oral. I mean, if you don't learn that Chaim, you're going to have to say that even though halachically he's a guy, and all goyim are considered a railing, but since the Maisa you mild the but he's not going to give you a Koren Pesach. It's so hard to understand that. Why,
Right. And there's no. I mean that 12. Whenever I read that 12-month side, it seems like the Rambam is sort of saying it's sort of like this quasi. It's sort of like this netherland. It's a goy under your control, but it's not there's any change in his status.
He's not an
He's not an Eved. So the fact his language over here is Eved. So
he's talking about Mila Lavadim, but he's learning Mila Lavadim without Tefillah.
Right, and it says no status there.
What is it? And he himself said the parish. He says, Tefillah Lavadim Einim Makabas. Right? So, and he said the parish, he's a goy, right?
Strange.
He said, Eved Georo Osir L'Kama Mitana Kadosh Baruch Amar L'Avram Himo Yimo, and that means there's an Indian in Mila, and then he can L'Kama, even though you're not Mechuyev to be Tobel. He remains a guy, which is a hard thing to.
Right. Even
I hear is the yukim in the words, but the Maisa, I think Rabbi Hochman said it's not mistaken at all. I think.
Because where does the chiv? I mean, I go back to the same thing. Where does the chiv come from? There's no obligation.
This is a chiddush to me. I'm looking at the bottom. First, he said, like what I told you, that some people say when it says Mila, that it's not such a good rhyme, it doesn't make Tefillah, because he says in the whole Torah by Ger, it doesn't say the first in the Torah anything about Tefillah. We learn out from that they have to have Tefillah. There was Hazor, there was Tefillah too. So he said the fact that it doesn't say the first Tefillah is not such a wrong rhyme that you don't need Tefillah. I know where Pamos you need Tefillah. But then when he says the Tefillah Abanim Einim Akavos, Yesha Bir Dinzeh Tefillah Sa'eved Ema Kabas Geruso. Well, that's a big chiddush that they hold that the Mila of a Eved is a Gerus without Tefillah. The Kivin Shenimo and the Sky the Mrs. Kisha Afshal Tavo. So there's such a shita. I never heard of that shita. Who says that? He says Karen Oren. Wow. Because the round, that's the Rashi, but if you did the Mila without Tefillah, you could keep chapels and stuff like this, you don't have a shame. Or once you did Mila, the shame, Gerus, he says this Mila by an Eved is good enough that.
He's saying just by the Gerus of the Eved to an Eved Kanani is nothing to do with regular Gerus, because regular Gerus needs to do.
Wow. But he said this in Karen over. That I never heard of.
I mean,
then he says, and some people go and say the other way, that even if Tefillah is ma'akiv the Gerus, but still it's not ma'akiv the Adon, even though it didn't do the Tefillah, because fourth the Mila was L'Shem Gerus, and even though it doesn't make him into a Ger according to this word, but still he's not an Aral, and it's not ma'akiv the rhythm for making a Pesach.
Takes him out of the status. It's interesting. It takes them out of the status. I mean, you do see this that the Mila, the Shem Geras, does have some effects on some people.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that's a whole big thing. There was a whole thing. If there was a case, this was written up in all the Jews. There was a case in Yerushalayim where a guy had Mila and he didn't have Tefillah. As he would play Goysha Shabbos is called Mises, so they told him he has to be Mechal Shabbos. And the whole big thing that once he did Mila, he doesn't have to be Mechal Shabbos. That was based on his Rash, but the Mila B'lo Tefillah is a Mixes Geras that was based on his Rash.
So, but that Rash was saying it even by regular Geras, so they're really applying it to Avodim. That you lose your shame oral, and really the idea is not to be an oral. So.
And then he says, I'm looking later, he says in the Minchas Chinuch has Hagos on the Rambam. And he says in the Minchas Chinuch Hagos on the Rambam, he says that Tfilas Avodah is Ma'akiv, and calls man shelo tavel ha'ebed lo nechlas l'klal Yisrael. V'chein is v'targim Yonasan sheheter achilas Pesach l'mi shekana eved kani who achri shemalas eved vid tavlo. And I heard from 107. Who is that? He says the Shevet Levi. I don't know why it's calling Shevet Levi. That's really I don't remember from a number of times how they took it.
Right. But he's saying Minchas Chinuch says the same thing.
Yeah, here Minchas Chinuch says you don't need to.
Right, but he's saying how God the
it says over there
I mean the language here that Mila and Tefillah are the same. I mean the language of the Rambam, is that his actual language? The Kabbalah Tefillah the Shivchas Kamil Avodim. That's a very powerful language. Like you can see where the Karen Orr says it's like you're saying the Tefillah is like the Mila, and the Tefillah does make you an Amayivriya, so it's like
it makes you shift the kinds.
And sorry, it makes you right. It makes you shift the kinds, right?
But
it's interesting you said it because he said Tefillah and Mahos. His language of Mahos hit me. That's why I said Amayivriya. You're right. Okay. Yeah. That's embarrassing.
You have to see because in Mitzrayim it says that there were Arelim and they had to do Mila.
Right.
And what about the woman? The Chorei Korim Pesach on Mitzrayim.
Right.
Also.
Right.
So did they have to do Tefillah?
When are they total for Geras? Before Har Sinai. That was at Har Sinai, wasn't it? The Tefillah. Right. Tefillah for Geras was by Har Sinai. I mean, you could tie that before Har Sinai that a goy didn't have a din oral. Like you can start working out that it's only. I mean, you could start making a cheshbon. It's only after
there's a din
of Mila of actually that you could start. Before Har Sinai, you can always,
Okay, we'll see. He speaks about it. He says there's a Tosas Yeshanim that says in Mitzrayim Tavlu Hanashim Kedei Lechol Koren Pesach Shavalo Tefillah Hayalam Teres Oral. But the men didn't have to have Tefillah because they had Mila. Even though the men didn't have Tefillah till
right.
So there he's bringing this Tosas Yeshanim that also says this word Mila without Tefillah.
Wow.
Is a madregi. He says that the women had to have at least.
So it's more than it's more than just the Rambam. I mean, it's like it's obviously more than
just the Tosas Yeshanim. This is so hard to. We don't find it. I mean, Tosas Yeshanim says it, but we don't find in Gemara that the woman had to have. Tefillah would make them nice oral.
He says this for Tosefta, but
yeah, that Tfilas Shivcha is ma'akev. Yeah. I know Rabbi Chaim learns because they're goyim, and goyim are already. Because otherwise, what's the shaykhus to milas ma'akev? If it's something that there's a mitzvah of tefillah, nothing to do with the fact that the goyim are already. So stam is exerts a kassav that a guy needs milah and an isha needs.
The test is Yeshiva backs up Rabbi Chaim.
Yeah, but Rabbi Chaim learns the men need. So what does Rabbi Chaim learn? I mean, Rabbi Chaim learns for sure the men need milah and tefillah.
But he might hold that the milah of Shem Geras is enough, like the Rush, but the milah of Shem Geras is enough to take away the Shem moral.
But he doesn't say that. But he says he needs milah and tefillah. But what does he do with Pesach Mitzrayim? I don't know the rules of Pesach.
Right.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But here the Chinuch Minchas Chinuch was certainly learning that tefillah is a ma'akev by an eved. Milah is good enough, and it's not, once the eved has milah, it's not ma'akev the Kohen Pesach. But tefillah of the shivcha, that's a big tremendous chiddush. That tefillah of the shivcha is a different madreg. Is like milah, like he's medak the words is like milah, but it's not like milah and tefillah. It's exeris akasuk and Rambam. Where is the exeris akasuk? The Rambam says there is no pia kabbalah. Shat tefillah l'shivcha is kamil lavanim. That there's such a pasuk like that. He says the Rambam, he says there is a kabbalah. He means there's such a, unless maybe the Tosefta brings the pasuk. V'hainu k'mo milah lavadim shemut al adan lamu kainu tefillah l'shivchas apagav de'ein mutal al adan. Tefillah lavadim eina ma'akeves de'eina mavur shetakev. Rak tefillah l'shivchas exeris hakassav. I don't know what this exeris hakassav is. So he says on the bottom of Psukim lo motzinu chilek ben tefillas evel tefillah shivchas l'inyan heter adan v'siyas ha'pesach.
I still don't understand how the adan has. I don't understand the definition. This woman is it's an interesting definition of shivcha because it's in that 12-month period. I mean, what's really the status of that woman?
I don't know if it's in that 12-month. Or maybe she agreed to become just it wasn't done yet.
But she still doesn't have, like, the connection between in other words, the connection between the Adam and this woman. She's not his shivcha kananis because she's not.
Yeah, but she accepted to become a shivcha kananis. So he has to make her when she accepts to become a shivcha kananis. He has to make her.
Status, so he has a status
that he has to make her to a shivcha kananis, and he has to be tovel. But they're saying there is no chiyuv to be tovel.
According to the sheet, is all there is.
But what does he mean it's exeris hakassav? He doesn't have any pasuk on the bottom. Well, Chila Mila Kol Echsheinu will tell us Ada Nira Deina Makepes Kamo Zor Nechshav Avol Afilu Mila Kol Hecha Sheinu will tell us Ada Nira Deina Makepes Kamo Zor Nechshav V'chein Kazaram Machem Halacha Bav Avol Ka'en Ein Milas Abadav Lo Tefillah Shevchosamak. In other words, if a cotton, let's say he yarshened and he has an eved, or he yarshened a shevcha, there it's not going to be ma'akev the cotton. He says there also you see the words nakat gabi avadi mila, the gabi shpachos. He used the word tefillah. Near the gabi avadim at tefillah eina ma'akevas, but karchach sarach lomar shevshivchos exeris ha kasav. And where is the exeris ha kasav? We don't know. Just that the Tosefta says that then. Now I remember that by cotton it was strange. The Gemara brings a drasha that if a cotton has an eved, it's not ma'akev the cotton from Korban Pesach. So some Achronim learn from there. You see, it's the chiyuv to mal it's ma'akev, and I think that's the Minchas Chinuch learns, and that's why by cotton it's not. There's no chiyuv, so that's why it's not ma'akev him.
Right.
And the Shagasari learned just the opposite. He says, if it was the chiyuv that's ma'akev, why would you need a pasuk? In other words, the cotton has no chiyuv, so what was the havmina should be ma'akev? So he says the very fact that the Gemara brings a pasuk is a raya that you don't. It's not the chiyuv that's makim, and it's a special gzeres hakasa by Khan. And the Minchas Chinuch says once you have the pasuk, you see it's because of the chiyuv. So you always have this problem, what the pasuk is teaching you or not. And this I remember that there was the Shagasari. His sheet is it's not the chiyuv that's makim, and his raya is from this pasuk gufa because he says the pasuk you need a pasuk that by Khan it's not ma'akiv.